heavy rains with a lot of wind. 2 days it is coming, and today also massive wind, and I saw the clouds and I knew the wind is going to take the clouds out, and it didn't go. It came with a blast, and there was heavy rain, and my shooting got delayed. In that I was thinking what to talk today, and there is no other way except to take this one, Shushan's short stuff, a Zen story. Shushan held out his short staff and said, if you call this a short staff, you oppose its reality. If you do not call it a short staff, you ignore the fact. Now, what do you wish to call this? I wish to call your father's gundi. Zen is full of bloody nonsense. And Professor Chandrasekhar of the Film Institute, he came and told me, his guru told him, it seems, Jiddu Krishnamurti, what he's talking is all nonsense, nobody will understand. Yes. The whole Hindu society always brought in a lot of stories, indirect stories. No community, no society benefited at all. Only poverty. They should have spoken right across the table the reality. Like how the Christians are talking, maybe they think it is on the tip of the iceberg. They do not allow their disciples to think deeper. But nevertheless, they got some food, some cleanliness. Yes. Same as the Zen. Zen stories and Zen koans are so bloody nonsense. And very few people could even understand. They do not want to make people understand. They're thinking there's something big and great. And to break the cone is also another one difficult part. It needs a huge amount of power. Shushan held out his short staff and said, if you call this a short staff, you oppose its reality. If you call, but who is calling? First of all, try to understand. If you call this a short staff, but nobody is even bothered about whether you're carrying a staff or not carrying a staff. Think about that. Now you are getting trapped because he said, if you call this a short staff, you oppose its reality. Like the Zen master said, suppose I put this gooseling into this bottle and the gooseling becomes an adult, and without breaking the bottle and without hurting the goose, how do you take it out? And the master said the gooseling is out. Stupidity. First of all, you cannot go inside and sit inside a bottle to become big. You are stupid to even listen to the story and answer that. Now you know why the kitchen talk is so bad, so stupid. Unnecessary talking. Unnecessary loose motion from the mouth. Shushan said, if you call this a short staff, you oppose its reality. First of all, who is looking into the staff? Whether the staff is small or big, whether the staff is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whether it belongs to a Christian, a Muslim, or Hindu religion. If you call this a short staff, which this? You oppose reality. That means you get trapped. One person came and told me, that boy is calling me your father. Is a nai. Nai in the maga. That means you're son of a dog, son of a bitch. So I called him and asked, is your father a dog? He said, no. Why you want to answer him? Problem solved. Drop it. If it is not your question, if it is not yours, why should you answer? Leave it. You carry somebody's burden. I called to God and said, don't you think so much of sufferings in this world? Russia is bombing Ukraine, invading Ukraine. Ukraine is helpless with all the nuclear bombs with Ukraine is got, with all the weapons Ukraine is got, with all the beautiful people he couldn't oppose, but Russia is bombing and bombing. And Ukraine is crying for help. So many people are suffering without water. And the NATO and America is laughing and making these two people fight. They are provoking the Ukrainian president to continue the fight so that they can, NATO and American can get a huge amount of people as slaves to work for them. 3 million in the name of refugees. NATO and America is using Ukraine so that they can put sanctions to Russia and steal all the Russian money and the supporting countries' money, because in this COVID time they lost money, so they have to rob. So indirect robbing. I called to God, what is this nonsense? The one side Ukraine is crying for help and Russia is bombing and America is telling, I will help you. And they just stood aside and watched this 3 million people, women crying and moving into the country. And just refugees. They wanted just slaves. They got those slaves. And those 3 million people are worth in billions of dollars. And they're giving the Ukraine president small. I said, why God? All this suffering, can't you see? And God said, that's why I made you. Yes. It is our duty to look into the question, whether you want to answer or not. If you call this a short stuff, you oppose its reality. Don't go to look into the short stuff. There is no reality. You oppose or you are in favor of it. Like all the monkeys. All the monkeys. From morning they don't have any job. Just look into the leaders talk and they all keep shouting at each other. This is right, that is right. Bloody monkey. Did you look into your house whether your house is in proper condition? Whether per day, Kaisan, did you make one thing grow in your house? One improvement in the house? Did you look into your wife and children? Into your family? Whether your family is now strengthened with the joint family to stabilize the family to nothing. Just slaves. If you call this a short stuff, you oppose its reality. Susan said. But if you do not call it a short stuff, you ignore the fact. Why you wanted to say this or that? Just drop it. What is your reality? You are working. Concentrate on your work. When you work, you will understand before the rain comes, you have to create the rainwater harvesting. You have to create the path so that there won't be a flood. You have to create a team, a task force to make sure water is collected, and then a competition to find out how many liters of water, rainwater each district has collected. Your house has collected. What beautiful plants and trees you can now plant it during the rainy season and have it during the dry season. So many things. Susan held out a short stuff and said, if you call this a short stuff, you oppose its reality. If you do not call it a short stuff, you ignore the fact. Now what do you wish to call it? Just drop it. The goose is out. Just concentrate on your work. Concentrate on your family. Try to find out how much you can give. That penetration helps you to understand that you have become so flexible. That joining together and not, if somebody calls you your son of a bitch, and if your mother is not a bitch, why you wanted to go and fight? Drop it. Just take your things because you got so many things to complete, save, and then spend. Now, what do you wish to call this one? Don't call anything. A love is love. You cannot put a word into that picture. Now, what do you call this one? Hard labor. No. Don't call it hard labor. It is just you're enjoying that penetration. Now, what do you call this richness? The salary? No. It is just God's gift. Now, what do you call this child? A boy child or a girl child? And you try to kill the girl child and try to keep the boy child? No, no, no. You don't call it. What do you call this one? Boy child? A girl? No, no, no. It's God's gift. What do you call this one? Your wife or your husband? No, 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 no. It's God's gift. Somebody has taken care with a lot of love, fed it, brought it so beautifully. That's what Shushan was trying to tell. Zen was trying to tell. Why are you bothered? You have so many things. What do you call this one? Eyes? No, 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 no. It's I'm enjoying the beautiful sight. Just cleanse it up. Watch as deeper and beautiful. And when you see the flowers, just that itself is a medicine. Yes. Hear as far as possible, and then find out what's beautiful. Birds are singing. Yes. Shushan short stuff said, Shushan held out his short stuff and said, if you call this a short stuff, you oppose its reality. Forget about those talk whether these people are right or that people are right. If you do not call it a short stuff, you ignore the fact. If you ignore, what will happen? You will die. Ignore. Do not even use the term ignore. You have your work. And if you start polishing, it starts shining and you become a magnet. And then who is ignoring? The whole world cannot ignore this beautiful magnet of yours. Now, what do you wish to call this? Your love.